Hey there, Thibaut here, and I'm back with some more Tales of Arise. Kinda messed up my controller cable. So, let's start with a skit.
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an awful lot of questions to answer.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dana, and then sending it to Rena.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
You heard him. We don't have time to stop and chat. Let's move.
I'll check this one too.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegus was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration, to avoid all this chaos.
Good point.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegus was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
Sorry. That probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Yeah, you're right, Shion. I'm sure we will.
Well, I gotta say, that soundtrack, that background music here, it's amazing. I love it. Might be my favorite track in the whole game, as of now.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegus mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
There's the chest. Let's pick up that chest. More berries. Can't jump down there. That one up. In all my years, never have I seen such potent healing art. Thank you so much for taking the time to help an old woman like me. fancy parfait recipe. Who doesn't like
Everything will be okay now.
fancy parfait?
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Huh? Where am I? I just went out for a walk, but now I don't know where I am. I don't know, everything's falling apart and looks completely different. I can't get a hold of mother and father either. You have nothing to fear, kids. I'm sure there's a reason for everything that's going on. But even the Zugals are out running loose. That seems dangerous. Well, yeah, I guess so. The Zugals are nothing more than our servants. They may have gotten out, but I assure you, I'll have them back under control before long. If you kids consider yourselves to be proud Renans, then be brave. We'll have the situation fixed before you know it.
Your lordship. Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Not so much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just kind of plain.
What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Yeah, it's super interesting. That kinda does make people forget that she was there, that she exists at all. And also, the game does it really great, because when I think about it, I know that I saw her, or that we could see her, in Balthev's throne room. But because she looked so plain and simple, I just dismissed her first. Just some kind of NPC. And then she appeared again and again and again. And I saw her, but I immediately forgot about her, because she was so plain. And yeah, so the game really does a great job for the player to also forget about that character, when the characters also forget
Is
about her.
everything okay? You look a little lost.
Hmm? Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Ganabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, why would we?
It's
To us
also
Danans,
true.
they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Renans and their lord. Get a side quest. Or main quest. Side quest. Let's do it. Because we're already in the city. It looks like a quest that actually is going to give me a title. You want to know which lord I support? Why? Are you out canvassing for someone? I'm with His Excellency Wolsey Teldilis. You probably know him better as Lord Balthic. Ah, okay. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant brute. Believe me, I realize he can be an aggressive man. What those people don't realize is how much he looks after the members of his house. It's fair to say that House Teldilis doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who serve it will be the first to admit that.
Yes!
But His Excellency always stands up against any who would mean harm to us. Mean us harm. Of what we can be sure. His efforts in the crown contest aren't only for his family, but to improve the standing of each and every member of his house.
Yes!
I owe so much to His Excellency. I could never dream of serving another lord.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
Dohalim, you have returned. Ah, and I see you've brought eggs with you. Do you remember who I am, my lord? Surely you must, yes? Not only do I support House Ilkaras, but more specifically, his lordship personally. So much so, I've been trying to share my appreciation of his lordship to any who will listen. In fact, I was planning to publish my extensive writings on the subject through this very terminal, for all to read and enjoy. But since the lines appear to be cut due to the recent tumult, I've been unable to upload them. I know, since you're all here, I'll just read them aloud. There exists a most handsome man, a man who radiates beauty, whose every word, every syllable is divine poetry. He hails from the famed house of Ilkaras, and his name, Lord Dohalim. Music is his passion. The faces are awesome in this case. Music is his passion, the arts, his great love. The scores of boorish, uncouth men of his land cannot begin to compare to his magnificence. So refined and majestic his posture, while the mere thought of it brings me to ecstasy. Once he becomes a sovereign, Rena shall bloom anew, ushering in an era of prosperity for a grand civilization. Until that glorious day comes, I shall forever be praying for his victory, morning, noon, and night. Oof, oof. Well, what did you think, my lord? I poured my whole heart into it, hoping to capture your essence. Wait, I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love for collecting things. I must take this time while the lines are down to append it. Only then will my masterpiece be complete. Yeah.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance. I shall refrain from commenting.
Well, I never. To think anyone would try to tear me away from House of Valkyries.
What?
What do you want? Don't tell me you work for Lord Dorling, or that dreadful Lord Almedria, do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I come from a family that has served House of Valkyries for generations. Indeed, I'm doing all I can to support Lord Gunneveld behind the scenes so that he might emerge victorious. Many think him to be a cruel man, but I insist they are utterly mistaken. Though I won't deny he can be strict. He puts Renna's interests front and center like no one else. Why he advocates that rather than stay confined to Lenegis, we should get on with colonizing Dana and expand our horizons. That way we'll become masters of both worlds and overturn the current minority status on Dana's surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Tell me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is pursuit of power for the advancement of all our kind. It is what makes him exemplary. An exemplary lord, a model above all others. I was unable to accompany him myself. My two sons have been blessed with the honor of joining him on the circle. Whoops. At their father, it fills me with endless pride. Well, maybe I stabbed them to death.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Renna succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Renna.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
She looks pretty fine around here.
Pardon me.
This area falls under the sole jurisdiction of House Kaineris. I must ask you to depart at once. Surely you don't claim to be ignorant of our famed house, ruled over by the esteemed Lord Almedria. If so, I urge you to listen well. In fact, I bid you listen carefully regardless. Have you ever noticed how in the history of Lenegis, only a few women lords have emerged to compete in the contest? Many have theories as to why this might be, but Lord Almedria washed the doubts of any naysayers through sheer might. In fact, not only did she usurp her father and previous family master, she also removed her older brother to claim the seat for herself. She's a woman who stops at nothing to get what she wants, who gives the enemies nary the slightest opening to strike. Truly, Lord Almedria is a woman of talent. No one in all Renna better exemplifies the virtues of our nation's meritocracy. The age of a glorious woman sovereign reigning over Lenegis shall be upon us at last.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Checking with this guy.
Ridiculous.
How loathsome. Oh, I was just reading about Volran. Can I help you?
Okay.
I was always an ardent supporter of Lord Wavagil, Hildris. Yeah, it's correct, Hildris. Myself. Were it not for his sudden death down on the surface, I likely still would be. In my eyes, Lord Wavagil is a true Waterlord. I don't believe for a second that he perished in some accident, like they say. As for how Volran runs Gannis Harros, don't get me started. I hear he enslaves not only Danon, but even his fellow Renans. We may live in a society where the victor where to the victor go the spoils. But his actions go against what we as a people stand for. Besides, just what sort of family line is this house Igniseri of his anyway? I'd never heard of it until he came along, which means there must be among the lowest dregs of society. That such an ignoble lineage could... Oh no, such an ignoble... Ignoble? Not familiar with that word. Such an ignoble lineage could suddenly produce an astral artist capable of ascending to lordship is unheard of. None of it makes any sense. Not to mention all of the upheaval around here of late. What is happening to our people?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volran either.
Yeah.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary, remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that.
No.
But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Renans and their lord. Huh. Guess we didn't get a title.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfried Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegus?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegus from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Well, to be honest, I think it was kind of naive to not consider that there's a Master Core of every element. I mean, why wouldn't there be a Dark Master Core if there's one for fire, wind, water, earth, and light?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait, don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Huh.
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Let's keep going. Not a lot to see in this city. We found tofu! Okay, those are the materials. Ooh. Tofu was the soft white stuff. I don't know. We're gonna do it right now. Oh, check it out. There's the resting point.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah. It must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait. Don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Okay, we got a fast travel point. It's actually there. Right. Let's... Do I deceive me, or is my shop being blessed with Lord Doyle and his servants? Is there anything I can help you with, my lord? Let's see, we can buy some stuff. A diamond mail. That's not that great. The others are good. That's correct. Let's fight for the collection. This one too. Ooh. It's also better than a turn match. Gladius Renner. Yeah. Let's get this. This one looks nice. This one... Oh. Looks funny. But it's stronger. So, we'll craft this. I'm running a lot of money again. Story already. protractor. I like this design. The lion. That was right. So I can only craft one of these. Hanuman shaft. The South American Monkey King. Do I still have some stuff I can sell? I mean, I got a bunch of these. How much should I get for them? I myself. Not that much, to be honest. Peach gel. 600 for peach gel. Alright, let's craft the remaining stuff, including this protractor. And I'm out of money. Anything else? Mr. Crest. Yeah, I guess if I wouldn't be collecting all that stuff. Let's see, how would I like that all that meat? Rapid meat. Okay. I'm pretty sure I didn't get anything new. See, maybe that's the trick to making money in this game.
You can never be too prepared.
Raising raw pigs and selling their meat. So, I think it was Palladium, right? Over here? Yeah. And while I'm there, I'm gonna pick this quest up. But I most definitely wanna talk to Rodeno.
But did we have to spend so much?
I wonder if something happened.
Jesus thingy. Oh, hey there, Alphen. Nice to see you.
Wow!
Tilsa, did you come out from Calamia to help out with things here? I sure did. I heard what happened. It sounds like these people had it even worse than we did. If you can believe it. They might be physically free, but a lot of them still have a long way to go mentally. So it seems. I actually have some knowledge about treating mental health issues, so I'm going to try to help them think independently while I'm here.
Thank you.
Be really great, but how do you plan to help them? Simple, by sitting down and talking with them, one-on-one. Asking questions, seeing how they respond, and counseling on them. That makes sense. I wish we had the time and ability to do that kind of stuff ourselves. But we don't, really. Stop feeling like you have to shoulder everything yourself often. You'll burn yourself out. You know what? Maybe you and I could sit down together for a session. What do you say? What? I really think I need counseling that badly? No need to get so defensive. I just want to gauge how you're doing mentally right now. Oh, alright, well... sure, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Right. Alphen, I want you to answer a series of questions for me, okay? First question, don't think too deeply, just go with your gut. What's your favorite type of astral energy? Hot. How do you like to fight? Close quarters. What is the most important thing in your life? Friends, obviously. There's a wall standing in your way. What do you do? Burn it down with flame. Yeah. That's all the questions for me. Now, as for your results, you're really the blazing hero. You care deeply about your friends and have strong convictions. You try to overcome any obstacle you meet, but it might do you good to look around and be more flexible in how you think from time to time.
Wow.
You know, I never really thought of putting myself like that. Thought of myself like that. But maybe you're right. And that's what I'm here for. If you ever want another session, come talk to me again anytime. Right.
I wish I could get an examination.
Well, if you say so. Let me see, yes, you're in well, all right?
Ugh, if only your brain could keep up with your mouth.
Yes.
Well, it's our time. This should be everything the recipe asks for. Yes, I see rice here, spices, rapid meat, and is this that other white, soft and fluff thing?
Right.
Yeah, it's called tofu. Apparently you make it by taking the liquid from soybeans and solidifying it.
Very nice.
Oh, fascinating. I can't wait to see how it tastes. Now I'm really curious. I had a lot of trouble bringing this stuff back without Shion stealing it and eating it.
Yes.
Well, here's the recipe. Go ahead and fix this marble curry so we can find out why it was forbidden.
Right.
Right, we'll get right on it.
Just a minute.
Root your horses often. I'll decide how much spice we put in it. If we let you decide, he'll tear holes through our stomach. Fine.
Great.
Alright, it's all done. I made sure to give Shion an extra large serving. Oh, look at this beautiful dish. It smells just as divine too. Now, let's see how it tastes.
What?
Whoa. This is
Yes.
halting, fulfilling, liberating. Ah, sorry, had someone at the door. Let's get into it. Absolutely exquisite. I'm in heaven. This masterpiece is surely the key to realizing world peace.
Great.
So basically, you really like it. That's what I'm getting here? Great, then let's go ahead and... Oh, you're already eating, huh, Shion? Delicious. I love how the different spices complement each other. And this soft, mild tofu gives it a nice texture.
Hey.
Don't you think this tastes great? This tastes great too often?
No way.
No, this is bad.
Oh?
Bad? I thought you liked spicy food. This is really bad. Forgive me, Shion. This is absolutely...
Hey.
Stop, you're embarrassing yourself.
Sorry.
Sorry.
How?
Embarrassing indeed.
Amazing.
Sorry, but it's hard to put into words just how good this tastes. It makes me want to get up and jump for joy. Oh, now you're starting to understand what I've been trying to teach you. Never would have imagined such an overwhelming dish could ever exist. I can already feel myself getting addicted to it.
Yes.
Now I see. This may very well be why it was branded as a forbidden recipe in ages past. Perhaps even great wars have fought over it. Or perhaps not. Likely not. The more I think about it. Better make sure you don't eat too much of this stuff, Shion, or you might regret it. I'll be fine. Besides, I prefer to eat it with bread, so...
What?
So, what? What difference does it make?
Very nice.
I feel completely and utterly satisfied. I can leave this realm with no regret. Having now visited each of the realms, I'm not sure where to travel next. But I sense fate shall bring us together again one day. Until next time, farewell. Marble curry recipe. Alright.
Alpin! She owns stuffing bread with marble curry!
Now I can eat this every day.
Jeez, June, you're hooked on that stuff.
Alright. Well, on that funny note, let's save and take a break for today. Okay, so if you've enjoyed the episode, then leave a like. And if you've got anything to say, write it down in the comments. And with this, I guess I'll see you next time. So, see ya!